deadly, constricting torture device from a bygone age? Or is it? As an amateur milliner, tailor, and mantua maker, I have spent a lot of time studying and recreating historical dress, such as the corset. It irritates me to no end, therefore, that we as a human race have decided to misconstrue this corset as this terrible device of death, rather than what it really is. So today, I would like to discuss why our habit of listening rather than learning is so harmful, explore some methods of fixing the harm, and explain the benefits of thinking over complacent acceptance, with a little corsetry for demonstrative fun. Critical thinking is an important skill that we seem to have forgotten in cases such as that of the corset. Instead of thinking about what we hear, we as a race have collectively decided to believe a horrifying lie over the simple truth. Corsets were originally just a normal undergarment, such as a bra or a pair of underwear or your socks. They weren't anything terrifying, they weren't anything that would kill you. Jill Salin in Corsets, Historical Patterns and Techniques says, in the past, they were a necessary foundation under clothes, allowing women to have a fashionable silhouette, refining the waist and supporting the back and bust. Now, corsets look like this thing that would change the very fundamentals of your body shape and move your organs around inside and prevent you from breathing such that you would faint or die from asphyxiation. If we had a little bit of critical thinking skills, maybe we wouldn't think this, because critical thinking allows us to extend the truth from our past and our realities. The authors of The Importance of Critical Thinking for Student Use of the Internet in the College Student Journal say, in a world where arguments and counter-arguments flourish with respect to almost all social questions, students have a fundamental need for the development of attitudes and skills that permit them to negotiate the inescapable dissensus that surrounds them. Many people seem to fall into a trap of relying on the internet to provide them with ideas and thoughtful conclusions. It's not really the best way to go about it. This same problem that has allowed corsets to slip into infamy, the problem that plagues our lives with thoughtlessness, can be remedied with just a little bit of thoughtfulness instead. An article in the British Journal of Educational Psychology titled Incorporating Perspective Analysis into Critical Thinking Performative Assessments suggests that to improve critical thinking skills, one must take into account the fact that arguments come in networks and consider the full, rounded perspective of those worldviews. If we had considered the entire perspective around corsets, including their actual history and what we really know about them instead of what we think we know about them, perhaps we would understand it a little better, and it wouldn't be the torture device that we think it is today. Going through life thoughtfully and with better critical thinking skills also has a number of benefits. The authors of Critical Thinking as a Qualified Decision-Making Tool from the Journal of History, Culture, and Art Research say that when critical thinking is applied to decision-making, it raises the decision-making model to a level of consciousness and deliberate choice, and increases the susceptibility of decisions to reason and logic. This means that you'll just think a little bit better and have an easier time making decisions, which is something that we tend to do a lot in our daily life. Furthermore, the same article says critical thinking is considered to be one of the few learning and innovation skills necessary to prepare students for post-secondary education and the labor market, meaning that just a little bit of critical thinking might not only prevent the corset from being terrible, but give you a better leg in life. Critical thinking is a skill that we seem to have forgotten in the age of the internet, but it is fixable with thoughtfulness and incredibly beneficial to cultivate. If only we had improved these skills earlier, the corset would not be so hated. Maybe we can prevent other important facets of our own history from falling to that same fate.